City Council will meet on Thursday, February 25th, 2021 at 7 p.m. remotely to hold its regular meeting for the purpose of discussing any and all business pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Salem City Council will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with the right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the city's website, salem.com. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so despite best efforts, we will post on the city's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch, listen, or provide comment, if applicable during the meeting, may do so in the following manner. Click on the link, the webinar link for Zoom that is available on the agenda. The meeting webinar ID for tonight is 831-1814-6378. And follow the meeting password as provided in the meeting agenda. By phone, dial toll-free number 877-853-5257 or 888-475-4499. When prompted, enter meeting webinar ID 831-1418. Sorry, let me start again. 831-1814-6378 and follow instructions to join the meeting. For those dialing in, you may press *9 to raise your hand if signed up to speak for public testimony or to participate in the public meeting portion of the agenda. This meeting is being broadcast live on SATV, Channel 22, and also live on Facebook. Members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items must follow the how to sign up for public testimony that was outlined in the agenda. Okay. Regular meeting of the City Council is being held remotely on Thursday, February 25th, 2021 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on February 23rd, 2021 at 10:02 a.m. This meeting is being recorded and live on SATV. Councilors absent, none. Council President Madore presided. Councilor Dibble moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? I see 11 councilors with their hands raised. President Madore requests that everyone, matter carries. President Madore requests that everyone please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilor Turiel.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation.
Stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public testimony. Tonight we have several emails that came in for public testimony that I will read into the record. And we have 6 members of the public who wish to speak. So I will allow a minute and a half, so 90 seconds.
I'm at council.
Yes.
This one, right? You only have 6 there? Yeah, I think you have an older version.
I have a total of 9. I wasn't counting that you.
I apologize. Okay, yep. I thought you said 6.
So I have a total of 9, whether by email or they will be present to speak on behalf. So I will allow 90 seconds for those who are speaking in person. I'm just going to bring up my timer here before I call on the first person. Go right here. Right. First person is JP Lenny. Mr. or Miss Lenny has submitted the email that I'll read into the record. Dear Counselor, I am a resident homeowner and an ample taxpayer in Salem. I pay too much to have city officials who ignore science or common sense in permitting development. We need to stop permitting and allowing continued or planned development on floodplains or in wetlands. World-leading scientists tell us that oceans will rise above 10 feet this century. Many properties currently at sea level or 2 or 3 feet higher than sea level are already getting flooded during our all too frequent nor'easters. Please urge the city, as do I, to not allow development on any properties that are on a floodplain or wetlands, as well as refraining from allowing any development at 5 feet or less above sea level. It simply defies common sense. It seems that our city is intent on ignoring science and not governing with responsibility. Respectfully, J.P. Lenny, 19 Flint Street. Mr. or Miss Lenny, we greatly appreciate you writing with your testimony. And the next person we have is Ann Sterling.
And she did ask for it to be read into the record. I double checked her email.
There we go. The next person is Ms. Ann Sterling. Dear City Council members, I'm writing in support of the proposed floodplain and wetlands ordinance introduced by Councilor Dominguez. In Ward 6, we have a proposal to put the main ambulance depot for the city at number 4 Franklin Street, the old HMA car wash site. Locating all the ambulances depots 3 feet above a flooded site does not bode well for public safety during a winter storm or king tide, which flooded the site with white caps during the powerful winter storms of 2018. Doing so also violates the Salem's own 2020 hazard mitigation plan presentation, which warns again putting public safety buildings in areas known to flood. Unless they are planning to launch an ambulances with canoes on top of the vehicles, will immediately drive into the flood waters on Franklin Street at elevation 10. These flood waters will be even higher due to the displacement of the water caused by the elevation of ambulance facility, along with the phase 2 building of 16 unit condos and retail space planned for number 4 Franklin Street. This displaced flood waters will flood the abutters, including the neighboring gas station and pedestrian path to the MBTA station. It is folly to permit building in parcels known to flood. The bill for this reckless endangerment will be paid by our children. Ann Sterling, 20 Orchard Street, Salem. Thank you, Ms. Sterling, for writing to submit your testimony. We greatly appreciate you taking the time. Next person on the list, we have Francis Righieri.
All right, Ms. Righieri, could you please unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record, please? You can unmute yourself, sir.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. Francis Ruggieri, 450 Lafayette Street, Salem, Massachusetts. I'd like to read from an email sent to Councilor Dibble in Public Safety. Looking back in 1994, I resided in Worcester, Massachusetts, when violent crime was escalating in many communities across the Commonwealth as it is now. Action was taken by the federal, state, and local communities to allocate resources to reduce violent crime. The political team of Ted Kennedy, Jim McGovern, Peter Blute, Mayor Mariano of Worcester, the police chief of Worcester, Ed Gardella, went to Washington to lobby for funding. The result was a $1.9 million allocation to Worcester, Massachusetts, specifically to put police officers in the street. Many of the political figures, other political figures, such as the District Attorney John Conte, Sheriff Flynn, State Representative Glodis, State Senator Bernstein, Councilor Jordan Levy, and many others participated in the initiative to reduce violent crime in the community. It will take an all-inclusive team to be effective. Under the umbrella of community policing, where local resources deployed which had great impact. One was federal funding allocated to local communities to hire police to increase the presence in the streets and to allocate and to include police walking and biking neighborhoods to build relationships with the residents and have a presence. Today, there are some high-tech tools, such as
Gary, you can wrap up your comments in the next 10 seconds, please. Thank you.
Yes. Community policing is something that we can take up when it hopefully gets to committee with Steve Dibble. And I'll call on Salem News to get the word out that Salem is beginning an initiative to address violent crime in its community. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ruggieri. We greatly appreciate you coming out and taking the time. Next, we have Ms. Erica Rowley with an email that I will read into the record. To all concerned, I am writing in support of amending Salem's wetlands and floodplain ordinance. We need to minimize our flood risk by protecting our wetlands and floodplains so they can sufficiently absorb stormwater. Remember the devastating storm of 2018? Salem suffered from record-breaking high tide and widespread flooding. I know my family and neighborhood suffered devastating losses. I know my neighborhood is continuing to pay bills associated with rebuilding what we lost. 3 years later, and we are still experiencing a big financial toll. Sea levels are rising as a result of climate change, and we need to protect our community from the dangers of flooding, and preservation of floodplains and wetlands is a responsible thing to do. Potential problems are easier to solve early than after damage is done. Right now, something is amiss in our wetland and floodplain ordinance that needs to be addressed as Salem continues to be bombarded with pressures to develop its precious and important land. Salem has blessed with being stewards to a long coastline and abundant forest of wetlands. As a progressive city, we need to be cognizant of our responsibility to the environment and our residents. We need to protect our environment for our children and our children's children. Sincerely, Erica Conklin, 11 Savoy Road. Thank you, Ms. Conklin, for taking the time to write. We greatly appreciate it. Next, we have Mr. Steve Kapantis.
Mr. Kapantis, if you could unmute yourself and please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons. Good evening, council members. Steve Kapantis, 23 Wisteria Street. Tonight, you'll have the opportunity to vote on a resolution regarding the ADA transition plan. First, I'd like to thank Mayor Driscoll for submitting a resolution that affirms our city's current actions and commitment to becoming an ADA compliant city. Second, and more importantly, the resolution specifically lists out the 8 actions that must be completed in order for us to be successful. In addition, the resolution calls out a dashboard for the ADA plan. I got my first look at the dashboard and the 1,200 plus tasks last night. Thank you, Ms. Jenna Ides, for the detailed plan and dashboard. The dashboard and the task list can assign work, track work, report on our progress. It is the plan for the next few years, and we need to work that plan. In closing, if you are planning to vote yes, and I hope that you are, then please know that a yes is a commitment from you, that your actions as councilors will continue to help facilitate and drive ADA compliance. I look forward to your efforts and leadership in delivering accessibility for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kapantis. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to come out tonight and testify. Next, we have Ms. Stacia Kraft.
Ms. Kraft, if you can unmute yourself, please, and name and address for the record. Ms. Kraft, if you can unmute yourself, please, you will be able to speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, Stacia Kraft, 140 Federal. I'm speaking on behalf of the Salem Residents Association, who's submitting 1,869 signatures in support of amending Salem's Wetlands Protection and Conservation Ordinance. In the past, neighbors have given anecdotal evidence of flooding, but the recent mapping by the Woods Hole Group and Salem Sound Coast Watch has added science to their stories, showing that these areas will likely have 100% inundation as early as 2030. That's 10 years. In addition, the Boston Globe wrote this week, that as climate change increases, Massachusetts will likely see property damage costs surge, and for Salem, that increase will be about 94%. U.S. News wrote about dangerous development in flood-prone areas, which they call fill, build, and flood. And the New York Times wrote that a majority of Americans support outright bans on construction in disaster-prone areas, as well as paying people to move, but local governments have been reluctant to adopt them. Our Planning Board and Conservation Commission members are well aware of this information, and they are on the record asking for a stronger ordinance so they can say no to projects in these areas that are inappropriate. We ask for an urgent passage because without it, Salem is moving forward and placing more people in harm's way. It's no longer folklore, it's now a fact. Thank you so much.
Ms. Kraft, we greatly appreciate you taking the time to come out tonight to testify. Next, we have Heather Famico.
All right, Ms. Famico, if you unmute yourself, name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Madam Clerk. Heather Famico, 195 Essex Street, number 2B. Good evening, councilors, Madam Mayor, if she's present yet, Madam City Clerk, and other Salemites. Tonight, I'd like to speak on the resolution for affirming the city's of Salem's commitment to accessibility and inclusion of people's all abilities. I'm in complete support of this. Just as Steve just said, I saw the dashboard yesterday that Jenna Ide put together. It tracks all capital projects. It has different components within it, so you can see how things are moving along, and it's not just most or some, there's actual data. But tonight I'd also ask a friendly amendment of the mayor and the city council regarding this resolution before you. I'd be hopeful that you would all consider adding a number 9 to the list, which would be commit to ensuring the city has accessible and inclusive housing and housing practices, including ADA and universal design. And further, that the housing needs assessment that was recently completed be updated to include the city's inventory of accessible and ADA units, including those that are affordable. And also that the upcoming housing production plan do the same. Even though that is not required by Mass General Law, it would further Salem's commitment to being an age-friendly, livable community for all. And it would ensure that we are truly planning for all of Salem. The current plans don't have that piece of it, and even kids in school today, they might want to live in the city growing as they get older and need to have housing, as well as the people that are aging in the city as well. And I think that's a critical component. Thank you all, councilors, and great to see you in a Zoom meeting. This is my first one of the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Famico, former Councilor Famico, for taking the time to testify before us tonight. Next, we have Justin Whittier, who has sent in an email that I will read into the record. Justin Whittier, 10 River Street, Salem. I am strongly in favor of the order that the council review and strengthen our ordinance to prevent new construction on floodplains and adjacent to wetlands. And Mr. Whittier, thank you for taking the time to write us. Greatly appreciate it. And lastly, we have Mr. Jeff Cohen.
All right, Jeff, if you can unmute yourself, name and address for the record, please.
Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street, Salem, Mass. I am the Vice Chair of Salem's Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee and Co-Chair of Salem's No Place for Hate Committee. I agree very much regarding the resolution for accessibility and inclusion. But today I want to speak about Councilor Dominguez's motion relative to Salem's Wetland Protection and Conservation Ordinance. My concern is that the councilor and other people have not presented this to our committee, the Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee. This is really part of our mission, and we would love to contribute. So I'm inviting Councilor Dominguez to a future meeting to present the reasons he submitted this motion and to answer questions from our committee about how the motion contributes to adaptation and mitigation, as well as how it impacts environmental justice in our community. Just as an example, Councilor Dibble has done this on many occasions regarding some of the initiatives that he has presented to the council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to come out and testify. And that's all for public testimony. Is that right, Madam City Clerk?
That's all I have.
Okay, great.
So you know the hands.
Hearing none. Appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of the following with their terms to expire. Karen Watson-Felt, Sarah Tabay, and Jeff Swartz.
Counselor Hapworth.
Madam President, I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Counselor Hapworth moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
I just want to thank these individuals that have come out here tonight. Ms. Watson-Felt has a very strong background as the executive director of the Women's Friends Society and the president of Historic Salem, focused on things as diverse as women's rights, affordable housing, historic preservation. Ms. Tarbett has a focus as an architect, planning for accessibility. I think something that's relevant to tonight. We certainly appreciate that. And Mr. Swartz has a diverse background, going to the Traffic and Parking Commission, assistant director of the Chamber of Commerce, a number of organizations focused on historic preservation. So we appreciate that for sure.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion on any of the appointees? Counselor Turiel.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd also like to request that we, in particular, that we have a city seal sent to Ben Anderson, who's stepping down as chair of the planning board after many years. He's done a tremendous job of leading it. And also, I have a particular attachment because he's a longtime friend, and I'm the one who talked him into submitting himself for the planning board in the first place, right after I first started in this, when he helped out with the CVS project as an abutter. So Ben's done a tremendous job as a member and then as the chair of the planning board over the last almost 9 years now. And I think his service is really appreciated. So I would ask that we send out city seal.
Thank you, Counselor. Madam City Clerk could arrange that for us. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Turiel.
Yes.
Counselor Sargent.
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi.
Yes.
Counselor Prosnewski.
Yes.
Lowe.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez.
Yes.
Counselor Dibble.
Yes.
Counselor Madore.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Your sound is a little quiet. I'm not sure what's wrong. Okay, on the matter of the three appointments to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board, Planning Board, and Traffic and Parking Commission, we have 11 counselors voting, 11 affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Counselor Hapworth?
Move for a suspension of the rules. I think all three are here just to allow them.
Counselor Hapworth moves to suspend the rules to allow any of these three appointees, well now board and commission members, to address the council if they so choose. We'll start with Ms. Watson-Felt.
I allowed you to speak. Go ahead. Thank you.
Got it. Thanks. Thank you, everybody. I'm excited about having the opportunity to serve. I think that this is an incredibly important conversation going on in Salem right now, especially as we all know, we've all been really involved in our own unique ways. So looking forward to serving Salem and in this way. And thank you very much for the appointment.
Congratulations. Next, we have Ms. Tarbett.
Let me just, Sarah, yeah. Sarah, I'm allowing you to speak. If you could unmute yourself, please.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Tarbett. Thank you, counselors, Madam President. I'm honored to be given this opportunity to be part of such a capable and influential board. I look forward to a chance to contribute to and serve the city of Salem. Thank you.
Congratulations. And lastly, we have Mr. Schwartz.
All right, Mr. Schwartz, if you can unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity, counselors and Madam President. I'm very excited to serve on my first city commission. I appreciate the opportunity to hopefully improve some of the things in town as much as we're able to. And I'm excited to learn quite a bit about city government in the process. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, and congratulations to all three. Really appreciate your willingness to serve the city. Further reappointments and appointments.
We have the mayor's reappointments of the following with their terms to expire: Catherine Miller, Glenn Kennedy, David Jaquith, F. Reed Cutting, and DJ Napolitano.
Councilor Hopwood.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Hopwood moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Just like to thank all these individuals for continuing to serve.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Ferriero,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Prosnewski,
Yes.
Marcello,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the matter of the 5 reappointments, 3 to the Design Review Board, 1 to the Historical Commission, and 1 to the Planning Board, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the matter carries. Further reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of the following department heads with their terms to expire. We have Bonnie Selly for City Collector, Dave Knowlton for Director of Public Services, Dave Kaczarski, Director of Traffic and Parking, Teresa Gove Arnold for Counseling on Aging Director, and Tom Watkins for Purchasing Agent.
Councilor Hapworth.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Hapworth moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Again, I'd like to just thank all these individuals for their continued service to Salem.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
I'll do
Yes.
Councilor Prosnewski,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble, Councilor Dibble, is he frozen?
Councilor Dibble is frozen.
I think so. All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
And Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the matter of the reappointment of 5 department heads, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order that $190,000 is hereby appropriated within the CPA funds for fiscal year 2021 to the accounts listed below, which is the CPA Mac Park Food Farm in the amount of $15,000 and the Forest River Outdoor Rec and Nature Center in the amount of $175,000.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrio moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move for adoption by roll call vote.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This is explained fairly well in our packets. The grant to the food farm is for the purpose of purchasing a walk-in cooler that they can equip and improving, if I recall, the shed there, or hoop house, basically, is a greenhouse, and doing this in preparation for the upcoming season as part of their expansion and the additional services they expect to provide in the current year. The Forest River work is directed towards the bathhouse with a purpose of helping to make sure that can open up in a timely fashion. There still is, besides the money we've allocated and the money that was in the bond, there is still, as we were advised when we were discussing the bonds, there is still some funding to make up, and they anticipate that primarily coming from federal and state funding, but that's not all secured yet. But this portion they plan to do out of their recreational use on CPA funds.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I absolutely love the idea of the food farm. I think that they made great progress this first year. And I am going to support this tonight, but I question the oversight. Nothing was submitted from the mayor, from any staff member in terms of who's overseeing this work from city staff, if you would. It's $15,000 worth of public monies. The second one I have an issue with because it's an ever increasing budget on the Forest River Park pool. Originally it was a $3 to $4 million budget, went to $7 million, to $10 million, to $12 million. Now it's 13.1 million. And now we're being asked, we're just asked to fund quite a bit towards this project. It's spiraling out of control spending on this. And now we're being asked to spend another $175,000 on it. So I can't support that. So I'd like to move to divide the question, please, Madam President.
Councilor DeBoer moves to divide the question. Do I have a second? Seconded by, is that a second, Councilor Dominguez? Seconded by Councilor Dominguez. Under discussion.
Sure, I have no problem with with taking 2 votes on it instead of just 1. That's fine.
Okay, so we'll take up the Mac Park Food Farm first. Do we have to vote on the dividing? Should we do a hand vote or roll call, Madam?
Hand's fine.
Okay. On Councilor Dibble's motion to divide the question, we have seconded by Councilor Dominguez. All those in favor?
Sure.
I see 11 hands raised and none opposed. The matter carries. And we'll take up the Mac Park Food Farm, the appropriation of $50,000. Any further discussion on that one? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Florio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes. Is it good?
Yep.
Heads or tails?
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Presnewski,
Yes.
Hello,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the matter of the appropriation of $15,000 from the CPA fund to the Mac Park Food Farm, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative, matter carries. Next, we have the Forest River Outdoor Recreation and Nature Center appropriation. Any further discussion? Councilor DeVoe.
Thank you, Madam President. I think I've said enough on this over the last year or so, where the budget has just kept on spiraling upward and out of control, I feel. And this is something that I thank you all for entertaining this and allowing me to divide the question, because I do want to support the food farm. I do want to support the pool as well, but I think the amount of money that we're spending on this is cost prohibitive. It's just way too much money. So this is something I simply cannot, I don't want to vote for this. It's way too much money, as I said before, and now tonight it's even more money. So I'll be voting against this tonight, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. In the fact that we have questioned by the good councilor Ward 7 Dibble, it's possible that we can send this to committee so we can have a better discussion. And before we make our decision on this, we hear more about it and we can have some numbers and a specification and see if everything is on place, so we can all support it, or we can all find any solution. It's possible that we can send it to committee.
Is that a motion, Councilor Dominguez?
Yeah, that's a motion that I propose. Thank you.
Councilor Dominguez moves to refer the item to the Committee on Administration and Finance. Seconded by Councilor.
Co-posted.
Co-posted. Under discussion.
Yeah, Madam President, I would not support that motion. This is not a city funding request. This is not a city of free cash allocation. This is a CPA grant. So this is something that has already been discussed and decided on by the CPA Commission. And then our role in this is when it comes to a CPA funding allocation, our role in this as a city council is basically, do we accept their recommendation to allow them to fund it from the money they control, or do we reject it? So, if there are other issues that come up in the course of this that require us to fund from the direct city treasuries, then I would be much more supportive of a discussion at that point, but on this I would not be.
The motion on the floor is to refer the matter to Committee on Administration and Finance. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble, this is your second and final.
Thank you, Madam President. Our rules dictate that the financial matters automatically go to the Committee on Administration and Finance unless somebody objects, then we can deal with it. I thought it was a reasonable request by the good at-large counselor to send it to committee so we can have a discussion on it. So if it's not too late to object, then I will object right now. This should go to committee and we should have a discussion on it as to why the budget for the pool has been spiraling out of control. To go from 3 million to over 13 million, I say that's spiraling out of control and upward. So I would like to object to not sending this to Administration and Finance. Thank you. And for the record, these monies are public monies, and they're under our supervision. We do vote to, the CPA does review the applications and decide to recommend them to the city council or not to recommend to the city council, but it's up to the city council to approve spending of these public monies. These are public monies. They're not something different. They're monies that are paid for by the taxpayers of Salem. So I would like to object and to see this go to committee, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I would suggest the good Ward 7 council listens to his own words. The CPA committee, as Councilor Turiel stated, reviewed the application, decided to allocate the money towards this project through their funds. Yes, we do get to approve them. They are funds that are generated, but we do not decide where the money gets allocated. We only get to say yes or no. To have a discussion about whether or not the pool is spiraling out of control budget-wise or not isn't a discussion for CPA funds. The question would be simply, if you don't believe CPA funds should be allocated towards this project, you vote no. This isn't about having a discussion, as Councilor Turiel referred to, about having whether or not we're going to spend money that's coming out of the any other fund that's city controlled. This one specifically, they went out and the process was vetted through the CPA. So I agree with Councilor Turiel. I mean, I agree with Councilor Dibble. Councilor Dibble stated they went out and they went and had their meetings. They decided to allocate the funds. It isn't our job to go question whether or not how they made the decision and whether or not the project that they've decided to fund, by the way, which is a city project, of which a lot of people over the years have questioned the council on funding non-city projects with CPA money, and this one's a city project. So for us to take money from the CPA to help move this project along, I'm really looking forward to getting this thing done and getting kids and programming back in the pool. I think our kids have, without the ability to pool, we've been a very fortunate community for a long time to have a pool, as it's changed over the years. And this money isn't just about the pool. It's about the pool. It's about revitalization of the shore over there. There's a lot of resiliency work going on over there. There's a lot of work that on top of the pool. It's a very complex project. And I just think that right now it's CPA money that's, going to go to enhance. And those bathrooms are in need of a lot of work. And I just think it makes sense to move forward with it right now in order to get it done, because once again, it's CPA money. They've came up, they had their vetting out process. They've decided to allocate their money. And if you don't agree to how they're allocating the money, it's a simple vote. No, it isn't about debating whether or not you believe that they should have you know, if you vote no, then they can allocate their money someplace else. But right now, they went through their vetting process. They had all their projects in front of them, and this is how they decided to allot their money towards this project. So I'll be voting in favor of this. I don't think it needs to go to committee to have a discussion about how the CPA decided to allocate their money, because that's what it's about. It's about the CPA allocating their money. It's not, if you want to have a bigger discussion about the pool, then that's a bigger discussion, but I don't think it's involved with the CPA money. That's my 2 cents on this one.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Terrio, this is your second and final speaking on the question.
It helps if I unmute myself. Thank you, Madam President. Just to add on from procedurally, the window for objection was when it was first brought up, not after we took it under discussion here. So that particular window has passed. But I will say, as the person whose ward this pool is located in, and having been privy to the discussion since the decision was made to close the pool in the first place, at no point was this a $3 million project. Early on, before we had complete plans and before all the decisions were made for facilities that would be included in it, the initial guesses were that it could be an $8 to $9 million project in total. And those were estimates that were being made back in 2018, roughly, before this whole process completed. Since that time, things were added, like a community room to the bathhouse, like the splash pad, like some more of the shoreline and resiliency design structures. So there have been changes and expansions of the project since then. I can't tell you the reason for every single dollar that this has gone, but this is a bigger project than we were initially looking at, which started out as a simple pool replacement and refurbishment. I think this is going to be a gem for the city time going forward. I too am concerned about the cost increases of it, but when we approved the funding for the parks plans some time ago, we were made aware back then that the numbers were based on best estimates, and we did not have final numbers and things, and it was likely that some of those would go up over time, but this was the core of the funding. So with that, I would say we should, on the Ward 7 councilor's motion that go to committee, I would say that we should move the question.
Councilor Terrio has asked me if the question, we will take a roll call on this. Can I see 3 hands for a roll call?
It is a roll call by default, so.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, if any, Councilor Dominguez, this is your second final time speaking on the question.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, on the concerning on the allocation of the CPA money funds, I think that's according to the explanation with the 2 good alert, the Ward 1 and Ward 5 alert, Councilor. I totally understand that part, but I think that even though we allocate, even though we voted yes or no on how that fund from the CPA to be allocated for the pool, I think that we should have a conversation on why we have that increase. We just hear from the good councilor of Ward 5, just saying that he don't even know exactly where's that increase coming from, and I think that we deserve an explanation for the taxpayer and a clear understanding that, so they know why we are having this increase and we can be a little bit more specific on the numbers that the money that we are spending, that just like the good councilor 7 says that this is taxpayer money, and we should give them an explanation on why we had the increase. So I feel that even though we're voting on the CPA allocation, we should at least send or I don't know if this is the right moment to do, but we need to revise the Forest River outdoor recreation center that we are doing it on terms of money financially. So we need to find some way to discuss the matter and answer some of the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilor Charlie has moved the question. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Terrio?
No.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi?
No.
Councilor Presnewski?
Couldn't hear you.
Presnewski?
You're muted.
I'm sorry, no.
Council Marcello,
No.
Council McCarthy,
No.
Council Hapworth,
No.
Council Flynn,
No.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
No. On the matter of referring the CPA fund appropriation of $175,000 to the Committee on Administration and Finance, we have 11 councilors voting, 8 in the negative, 3 in affirmative. Did I get that right? The matter does not carry. On the motion to adopt by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Presniewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Dominguez. You're muted, Counselor.
Say yes, sorry.
Councilor Dominguez said yes.
I say yes.
Dibble.
Hey.
Councilor Dibble.
No.
Madam City Clerk, we couldn't hear you.
Council Madore.
Oh, no. Oh, well, sorry. Yes. Did we miss somebody?
No, not at all.
Okay. On the matter of appropriation of $175,000 for the Forest River Outdoor Recreation Nature Center from the CPA funds, we have 11 councilors voting, 10 affirmative, 1 in the negative. The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor. Did I get that right?
Sorry. I don't know what's going on. Did you say 10 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative?
Did I get that right?
Yes, 10 and 1.
Yep. Okay. Can you hear me okay, Madam City Clerk?
No. I'm not hearing.
Can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Yes,
Okay.
but there's some type of, I don't know what's going on tonight. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Just have to shout, Madam City Clerk.
Ready for further communications?
Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $44,219 be hereby appropriated from the Witch House revolving account to reimburse Voices Against Injustice from the Witch House ticket sales.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrio moves to suspend the rules, seeing no objection. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This is something that we've had in our ticket sales since 2009. 25 cents of every ticket sold is for the Witch House is transferred to what was the Salem Award Foundation and has become Voices Against Injustice when they renamed themselves a couple of years ago. So this is something that we do, that the Parks and Rec Commission does by their own rules. And so this is just to transfer the money. It's been allocated.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Councilor DeVoe.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm curious what type of oversight is on these funds. It's $44,000. That's a substantial amount of money at 25 cents per person. I also wonder if there's a cap on the amount of money that is turned over. These monies typically would be used for paying for city functions, turn into the general fund to help keep the tax bill down, et cetera. And now a portion of it is, for the last bunch of years, has been to the Voices Against Injustice that do good work. But I wonder if there's a cap on this. So if all of a sudden the numbers at the Witch House go through the roof and we have a lot of tourists going in, they do this year, 2021. Would we just be giving that much more to a group? I think there should be a cap on this. So I guess what I'm saying, Madam President, is I'm unsure on this one here tonight, but I will vote in favor of this tonight because it's something that is retroactive that should have been taken care of over the last whole bunch of years. And it was something that was voted probably 5 years or 7 years before I was a counselor. And I wasn't aware of this. But it's a conversation that I'll have with the mayor and or the Park and Rec committee. I think there should be a cap per year on how much is given to this group. All right.
Any further discussion?
No, just.
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. Just taking it over 12 years, it's about $3,500 a year. So I think that would be a reasonable cap on what we spend per year. But again, it may make sense to have a meeting and decide that not to exceed so much per year would go to this. But I'm in favor of it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Prosnowski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
Yes. On the matter of the appropriation of $44,219 from the Witch House revolving account to reimburse Voices Against Injustice, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in affirmative, and a negative, the mayor carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to accept the donations from various donors for a total of $5,900 to dedicate for picnic tables and benches for the Park and Rec Department.
Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Councilor Torrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. So I'd like to just recognize the generosity from this order of Donna Lambert, the Tremblay family, William and Josephine, the Carol Dearborn Trust, and Witch City Teas, all of which have donated for tables and benches. So thank you to all of them for contributing this fund.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Prosnowski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
Yes. On the matter of the accepting of the 4 donations, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative, the mayor carries. And thank you for the very generous donations. Next, further communication from the mayor.
We have a resolution affirming the City of Salem's commitment to accessibility and inclusion of peoples of all abilities.
Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. Sorry. Whereas Salem has demonstrated a strong commitment to inclusion and accessibility as one of only half of Massachusetts municipalities with an American with Disabilities Transition Plan, and is one of the first in the Commonwealth to adopt unanimously a fully inclusive non-discrimination ordinance, including additional protections against discrimination based on ability. And whereas the volunteer members of Salem's Commission on Disabilities have and continue to work diligently in service to their community to ensure that public services, programs, and spaces are accessible equally to all residents of Salem. And whereas the Salem for All Ages initiative has, for the last 4 years, worked to implement a large list of action items that make Salem a more inclusive place for people of all ages and abilities, including but not limited to a sidewalk master plan, funding for accessible shuttles, age and ability-centered customer service training and style guidance for first-person language for city departments and agencies, prioritization of locations to the T for accessible benches and shelters at bus stops, hosting a public forum on accessible and human-centered design, and much more. And whereas the city has added expanded accessibility options for public meetings, made available assisted listening devices for public meetings, implemented almost all recommended improvements to its website coming out of the most recent ADA transition plan, and is working with their website vendor to implement the remaining recommendations. And whereas the city's capital projects department has developed a dashboard for tracking whole accessibility projects and capital projects that include accessibility elements as partial components of the larger project, and shares that dashboard with relevant department heads so they can monitor progress in this area. And whereas the City of Salem's fiscal year 2020 budget funded 28 capital projects that included accessibility improvements, and in the past decade, the city has carried out dozens of specific accessibility projects. And whereas Salem's state legislators have secured $56,000 in the last 2 years in state funds to carry out accessibility improvements at Forest River Park's baseball field and on Salem Common. And whereas the city has maximized the fine allowable under state law for illegally parking in a handicap parking space, and is providing 100% of those collected fines to the Commission on Disabilities to carry out accessibility improvement projects. And whereas Salem today is a community that celebrates and welcomes everyone, is dedicated to pursuing equity and justice, and is committed to policies and practices that seek to undo systemic discrimination. Therefore, we affirm the City of Salem's strong and ongoing commitment to accessibility and services and programs and infrastructure, and further pledge to commit to the following additional actions to that end. 1, continue to prioritize and implement the recommendations from the most recent ADA transition plan and carry out, when possible, additional reviews of city properties, parks, and buildings not included in the most recent plan. 2, continue to identify and track in the city's annual budget and capital plan projects and items that are accessibly related and that are reflected in the most recent ADA transition plan. 3, utilize and update the ADA project tracker dashboard and make it available in an accessible format to the public online. 4, work with the Commission on Disabilities and Salem for All Ages Task Force to continue monitoring city services, programs, and infrastructure to identify opportunities to further improve accessibility for people of all abilities and ages. 5, prioritize funding to carry out a future update to the ADA transition plan in 2023. 6, monitor progress on meeting accessibility goals and capital projects. 7, ensure all city website content managers in each municipal department are following accessible content management guidelines on their development and/or boards page of the website. And 8, conduct regular trainings for city staff on strengthening our ADA skill sets, including plan review, customer service, and inclusion standards with persons of all abilities. And I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Sorry, me also. Councilor Riccardi moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. I, like many have mentioned earlier, I'm very excited to see this resolution presented before us this evening. I feel it is very strong and does state the work that we have done as a city and the work that we need to continue to do as a city to reach our ADA and accessibility goals. I also was able to see this dashboard that has been mentioned a few times already this evening that Jenna Ide put together to help us track and to really kind of visually see where we are and where we're going with the items that need to be completed, and also with the items that have been completed and upgraded within the city. You know, we definitely hear about what needs to be done and what has been done, but to be able to see that in a quantitative manner is really, really helpful, and helpful, I would assume, for the departments as well to plan ahead. It's going to be a fabulous tool during budget season when we sit down and are able to review that. So I'm looking forward to that being accessible and available to everyone within the city. I would like to request one friendly amendment that former Councilor Fumiko mentioned this evening during her public comment, and add a number 9 to the therefore part of the resolution to work towards identifying our accessible housing stock, specifically in any future housing studies utilizing a standard accessibility index, and committing to ensure future housing plans highlight our accessible housing needs.
Second it.
Councilor Riccardi moves to add a section 9 under whereas.
Therefore,
under therefore, I apologize, relative to accessible, inclusive housing. Seconded by Councilor Duvall. Under discussion. Seeing none, we'll take a vote on that amendment. Councilor McCarthy?
One quick question. That amendment, the addition of item 9, I'm not against it. Is that for just city-owned properties, or is that in general? Because a lot of what we talk about in here is all these are all city properties, city parks, city buildings. Last time I checked, the city isn't building any housing, so I understand the emphasis of the wanting of the addition of in housing, but the city of Salem isn't building housing. So I don't know how that fits. If someone could explain to me how that fits into the resolution, because the resolution talks about city staff, it talks about training, it talks about outreach, it talks about parks, it talks about buildings, schools, all city-owned buildings, but the city doesn't own any housing. So I was just wondering how that fits into it.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess to touch on that, yes. The way that I am looking at it, it's more the city and their affordable housing goals, for example. So kind of a comparison. We recently did the housing study specific for the city of Salem, and it breaks down our housing needs of housing stock, compared to where levels of affordability are needed, what our housing stock is needed. And I think that there just needs to be a component of our accessible housing stock as well as a city as a whole. So it's more for making sure that that component is included in any future housing stock plans. And then our housing goals that we have as a city, which are often stated through the planning department or through different boards and commissions.
Okay, that's fine. I guess, if I may, Madam President, I guess that's fine. It's just that the resolution itself is. I agree that there's a component of that in whatever plans we come forward with, but when you look at the resolution as a whole, the resolution talks about specific city departments and specific properties, where this is now you're branching out into a discussion about, and I agree with the discussion. I just don't know if it fits into this resolution, but I'll support it. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Councilor? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment? I see 11 hands raised. Thank you. The amendment carries. Any further discussion on the resolution itself? Oh, and I would ask Councilor Riccardi to submit the specific language to the city clerk. Councilor Duvall.
Thank you, Madam President. I think that we're remiss in not thanking Steve Kapanis, who brought this whole matter forward to the council and to actually to the mayor to get this whole thing started. He put a lot of work into it, and the whole city owes him a thank you. I'm a little concerned that the Commission on Disabilities just met on this now after it was submitted to us, and we didn't hear any feedback from them on how they might edit this thing and make it better. I am in support of this. Over 3 decades ago, I was a handicap coordinator, actually one of 3 handicap coordinators for the city of Salem. And that was changing times. That was a bad term to apply to this. And accessible is so much better term than talking about handicap and barriers. So removing those barriers and making them accessible is a good thing. I'm very thankful that we're adding former Councilor Famiko's friendly amendment, if you would, or suggestion for a friendly amendment. That's a good thing, and I welcome that. I'm a little bit concerned that there's not language in here of what the original problem was. This whole matter stemmed from things that the city was building in violation of the federal and state access codes, the ADA, the Architectural Access Board, the rules and laws that are put in place by the state and by the federal government. Things were being built that were in violation, and that recently built. Park improvements or roadway improvements or whatever they be. There was a list of them that were presented by Mr. Kapanis and others when we were talking about this. But there's no, in this whole resolution, there's no commitment in here to have the city refocus their efforts to make sure that everything is built in compliance. So I'd like to offer another friendly amendment, if you would, number 10, I guess, that the city refocus their efforts to make sure that all public projects are in compliance with the access codes, federal and state access codes.
Councilor Dibble moves to add section 10 under therefore.
Second.
Add compliance to federal and state access codes. Seconded by that was Councilor Dominguez, right? That's seconded by Councilor Dominguez. Was that Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Discussion on the amendment? None on the amendment. All those in favor? All those in favor, please, again. I see 11 hands raised. All opposed, seeing none, the amendment carries. Any further discussion on the resolution? And Councilor Dibble, please submit the specific language to the clerk. You could write that out for me. Seeing no discussion, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Torio.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Councilor Prosnewski.
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo.
Yes.
Councilor Kathy.
Yes.
Councilor Capra.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the matter of the resolution, we have 11. On the matter of the resolution as amended, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to vehicles for hire.
Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Councilor Marcillo moves that this matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. I think in general, this is a good thing, but I had a request from a member of the committee to bring this into committee to allow some of the taxi drivers and other drivers to tell us about their job and the differences in the licenses and educate us a little bit and then move on this.
Hey, Councilor, would you like to co-post that?
Sure, it could be co-posted with all, sure.
Any further discussion?
Oh, just that quick.
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you. I just want to say that I agree, and I don't think it's ever a good idea to change an ordinance without having a committee meeting for us. So thank you for putting that in committee.
Any further discussion? Councilor Dominguez.
Yeah, I'm in full support of this ordinance in the way, this amendment. I have met numerous times with the taxi driver, but I agree with Councilor Marcelo on a way that we need to have a deeper discussion to find out and educate ourselves and make sure that we made the amendment in the right place. So I think that's it's going to be a good thing for the taxi driver, but educating us is always a good thing. So we make a very conscious decision on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? None. On Councilor Marcelo's motion to refer this matter to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? I see 11 hands raised. Thank you. The matter carries. Mayor's information on page none. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor DeVoe.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, in City Council, February 25th, 2021, ordered that the Public Health, Safety, and Environmental Committee, co-posted with Committee of the Whole, meet immediately with Salem Police to discuss the recent string of violent crimes throughout Salem, what police are doing to stop it from continuing, and share what they can on successes they have on each matter, what additional resources are needed, and how the council and all residents can assist. I move for adoption.
Councilor DeVoe moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Yes, very quickly, Madam President. I'd like to thank Mr. Ruggieri for speaking up here tonight, but it was he and 3 other residents that contacted me in various ways with concerns about the recent increased violence. This happened, a decade or 15 years ago, and the police department took some action, and things got under control really fast. And one of them was bringing that example back to me of some things that the police department had done back then with their community impact unit. So these 4 residents reached out to me. Basically, we need to find ways to help our police department. This is our city, and together we can make it safer for all. If people see a crime, they should obviously report it to the police and work together with the police. We can all be proud of the Salem Police Department. They're awesome. They acted really fast recently on these matters, and as they do on most matters, but on this one, they were very successful in, they've already made several arrests on some of the recent, very recent violent crimes. I look forward to this meeting and discussing ways all of us can help the Salem Police and help the city of Salem to learn of the efforts from our excellent police department and determine if our police need some sort of additional resources, which I think I've already heard one thing from the police chief that they would like to be able to afford. So maybe it might come for a request through the mayor for some additional funds to get them some tools that they might need. And I think it's a nominal amount of money. I'm not sure. But I look forward to hearing from our police chief and from the community impact unit at the Salem Police Department. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to say that I looked on the participants page in the attendees, and the police chief, as well as former community impact officer Harry Roachville, who has since retired, are both on attendance. I don't know if there's any. I just want to say that when I saw this order come in, I reached out to the chief myself to let him know this was coming in, and he's taken the time to be on here tonight. I just want after every incident, I don't know what other councilors do, but I know that I specifically, if they're in my ward or near my ward, I always reach out to the chief, whoever the chief is, over the last 14 years, and I've always had a good relationship with the chiefs and the superior officers and the detectives, and the fact that when any kind of incident that hits the papers, and obviously it's concerning, but at the same time is what our police department does behind the scenes is phenomenal, and what they do to solve crimes is unprecedented. It goes to great policing, and as a counselor, it's our jobs to support what they're doing, but at the same time respect what they're doing, because the last thing any one of us wants to do is get into some sort of investigation and make some sort of public comment that messes up an investigation and messes up what they're trying to do. It's their job to do this job, and they do it very well. And I've had probably 3 discussions with acting chief over the last month or so, as well as numerous text messages with regards to what's going on. He gave me the heads up right before one of the individuals was going to be arrested, to let them know that they're doing the work. They understand it's an issue, but I don't know if anyone, and I'm going to waive the rule to allow Chief King to address us briefly if he wants to, just to alleviate some of the concerns, because a lot of what has been, we saw some uptick in what's been going on. He sent to us an email with some charts relative to, as you know, is with what you've seen a lot during this pandemic. A lot of the crimes, I'll let him explain it. A lot of what we've seen is gone. Criminal activity has gone down a little bit, but some of the more stuff that you see in the paper is ticked up a little. But overall, I think that the police department does a great job, and I don't think there's, I think I'll let the chief explain it. It's his department. But if not, if we can let the chief wait until committee, I'm sure he'll still come up to committee. But if he wants to make a brief statement now on relative to what the police department's doing and what they can do. I mean, obviously, as citizens of the city of Salem, anytime you see a crime, the best thing you do is report the crime, and people should know that they have a phone number where you can report a crime. It's totally discreet. They're not tracking you. You can make it, the calls anonymous, just to make sure that they get a handle of the crime. But I just want to recognize the fact that Acting Chief King and former police department employee Harry Rocheville took the time tonight to be on this when knowing this order was coming in, just because of the nature of the order. So, with that,
I'll second and allow both of them to speak.
Yeah, I'm not sure if either one of them wants to, but if we can, I would just move to allow Chief King to address us briefly.
Councilor McCarthy moves to suspend the rules to allow Acting Chief Dennis King to address the council. All those in favor? Seeing no objection, I see 11 hands raised. I would just ask, I had a brief exchange with the acting chief and let him know that if he wished to make a brief statement, he can do so, but Chief, I know that you might be on the road or driving at the moment, so don't feel like you have to speak at this moment. I also know you had requested more time to prepare materials to bring before the council. So I don't know if you can access your Zoom buttons to raise your hand to let us know if you would like to speak. But if you do, please make it brief, and we'll defer all discussions to the committee if that's the will of the body. I see the acting chief has raised his hand. Madam City Clerk, could you please
allow it to speak? Chief King, if you'd like to unmute yourself. Thank you.
Go ahead, Chief. Go ahead, Chief. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Chief? I see you're unmuted, but maybe you're having technical issues. Let's try.
Chief, do you want to try to unmute yourself again?
We still can't hear you.
Let me see.
I would much prefer to have the acting chief speak on behalf of the police department. So apologize, Chief, if we can't hear you.
I don't know if promoting him to a panelist would make it any better, if it would make a difference in the volume in the speaker. I can try that. And here.
We'll try that as a last resort. If not, we'll just move.
Chief King, are you okay to promote it to a panelist to see if that works?
Let's just do it. Just do it. Don't see him. I think he might have logged off.
Where, without a,
Looks like he's logged off.
I promoted him to a panelist, so he's going to be under the, he's not going to be in the.
Yeah, I don't see him there either. Oh, he's back.
You just can't hear him. He's still muted.
All right, Chief, if you want to unmute yourself, we'll give this one last shot. No pun intended. One last attempt.
Good job.
No.
Madam Chairman, I believe Dennis may be able, through my cell phone, if I put it on speaker, he may be able to connect. I know it's kind of unusual, but it may be possible if you would accept that attempt.
I would very much like to vote on the order, and if there's discussion to be had, I think the chief would appreciate time to prepare a full statement rather than we work out these technical issues. There's no objection to that. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. This is an important matter. So if we could somehow get the chief in there, and I like the Ward 1 councilor's comments on both the chief and Harry Roachville, former lieutenant for the police department, is here as well. Perhaps Harry, who has spoken before this subcommittee several times on police-related matters, perhaps he could speak and offer some words as well. So if we can allow one of the two, if not both of them, to speak for just a couple of minutes, I think it'll be worthwhile. This is an important matter across the whole city, and the police department is making great progress, and we should share that, and also other ways that the general public can help. So I'd like to hear from either of the police representatives here, even though Harry is former Lieutenant Roachville is retired. He still has a love for Salem and a lot of knowledge. So perhaps we can go to him unless we can get the chief in on the call.
Thank you, Councilor. I do not disagree on the importance and the gravity of this matter, and I have only spoken with the acting chief, so I would feel more comfortable if the chief is speaking on the department's behalf, and I have very much respect for Lieutenant Roachville, being a former member, now retired, of the police department, so I would be more comfortable if the chief speaks on behalf of the department. So Councilor Brzezinski, if you could just try for a quick moment to get the acting chief on the phone, we'll give that one last try.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. He did state that he's going to try to do it remotely from his telephone and see if he can get in. So I believe that he's trying now. I personally would like to thank the general public, Mr. Aguirre, Councilor Dimble, for the support of the police department. I feel a little bit remiss because after my 41 years in the police department, I did supervise Lieutenant Roachville, and I was in charge of the community impact unit. So I have a little bit of knowledge about it, but I would not go forward and speak about it. I would rather have the chief speak. My question to this is, and it's just that I find this unusual that there's an order asking for the police chief to explain string of violent crimes throughout Salem. I've just never seen it done this way, and it may be because I'm naive and I may be new, but I've never seen the DPW director asked to explain why there's broken pipes all over the city, or the financial director to explain why we're in financial crises in front of the city council. And I'm just scratching my head as why does the police department have to be ordered to come out and explain what is quoted as a string of violent crimes in the city. That's something that I'm sure that the chief would love to do. Love to do it in committee. Love to do it in anywhere. I know that the police department has a very good relationship and record with the community, and we're proud of what we've done. But again, I would rather have our acting chief, Dennis King, explain what's going on. I just found the procedure a little bit unusual. Thank you.
you, Counselor. I would, maybe I could make a suggestion to the body and we go to the next matter and allow the acting chief to figure out how to get onto the meeting. I'll keep a lookout on a phone number. If Madam City Clerk, you could keep your eye out as well. So we'll just, what do we do? Do we just go to the next one?
I'm sorry, Madam Chairperson. I did speak with him earlier, and he would like to address the committee at any time. I know he's looking forward to discussing, and he apologizes for the technical difficulties, but he will accept an invitation to the Committee on Public Health and Safety to speak on that behalf.
All right, so we can move on the order. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on the adoption of the order, all those in favor? I see 11 hands raised. All those opposed, seeing none, the matter carries. Thank you, Chief. Sorry you're experiencing technical difficulties. And thank you, Lieutenant Rocheville, for attending. All right, further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Hapworth.
Thank you, Madam President. In the year 2021, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones, limited time, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones, limited time is hereby amended by adding the following. Boardman Street, 1 handicap parking space to be added in front of 27 Boardman Street for the distance of 20 feet. This ordinance shall take effect as provided by the city charter, and I move for adoption by roll call vote. I'm sorry, I move for first passage by roll call vote.
Councilor Hapworth moves for adoption for first passage by roll call vote. Under discussion, Councilor Hapworth.
Thank you, Madam President. This is just a resident on Boardman Street who is having a knee replacement and has asked for this to happen temporarily. And Tucker will be requesting that it be repealed at the end of the year. And he's put a reminder in his calendar to make sure that he does so.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mario,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Wisniewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
Yes. On the matter of the ordinance amendment on handicap zones, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, negative, the matter carries. Each has rejoined us. I don't know if that was intentional or not. But let's just keep moving. We still have several matters on the agenda before us. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, in City Council, February 25th, 2021, order that the Committee on Ordinance and License and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, meet to relative to the Salem Wetlands Protection and Conservation Ordinance, Chapter 50, Wetlands Protection and Conservation, and the Flood Hazard Overlay District Zoning Ordinance, Section .1, 8.1, to review both ordinance language and construction permitting requirements, and to draft amendments to ensure, first, establishment of both a no-build and a do-not disturb 100 buffer zone for Salem's wetland and 100-year flood zone for floodplains, Chapter 50. Second, remove of the inclusion of wetlands and floodplains and their respective buffers in calculation for zoning and construction permitting, since the use in this area in this calculation further threatens the viability of these essential environmental characteristics because of the consequence of proximity and encroachment, Chapter 50. Third, prohibition of construction within Salem's and wetlands and their respective buffers, and the Salem's coastal shoreline, rivers, Westline, and Vernon pools continue unimpaired to provide the environmentally integral mechanism for protecting our community from rising sea levels, climate disturbance, and increasing storm impacts, along with drought and flood impact, section 0.8, and I move for adoption.
Council Dominguez moves for adoption under discussion.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I think that I don't have to be an expert, or no one had to be an expert to see what's going on with the climate everywhere, and especially now that we see what happened in Texas, and what we see, we are a very coastal city. I think that we need to start the conversation to protect our residents and to make sure that we had an ordinance that allow us to be prepared in the event that something happened in our coastal. I have been approached by many groups, people who are actually concerning about of the wetlands and the climate change and so many other environmental things. And they asked me to bring this audience into us. I think this is a great thing for us to pay attention to. I hopefully will learn more. I'm not an expert, but I'm looking forward to not only learn on this aspect, but be able to be involved and make sure that we all together protect our residents from this dramatic changing on the climate and any other environmental issue. Thank you.
Councilor Marcello.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to start by saying that I'm really disappointed that my fellow councilor did not reach out to me to get an update on the work that's being done already on the wetlands regulations. It's known by the group that wrote this petition that's now turned into an order. It's known by that group. It's known by the councilors on this body that I have been working with the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board and the Planning Department to update the regulations, the Conservation Commission regulations and the wetlands ordinance. It's been brought up in the newspaper a couple times. It's been brought up on SATV a couple of times now by the same group that wrote this. And it was also, we also got a letter from Tom Daniel outlining the work that's being done by the Conservation Commission, the Planning Board, and the Planning Department, working on updates to this ordinance and the regulations. So, like I said, I'm a little disappointed that no one reached out to get an update from me. I do want to point out a few things that are written on this paper, though. It starts out by asking the committee, which I have no problem with this going to committee, by the way, and we should be discussing this stuff. But it starts out by asking us to review the current ordinance and then to ensure the following. Ensure, as written, the following. The first one is a no build and do not disturb 100-foot buffer. You don't need both of those things. If you have a do not disturb, you don't need the do not build because it means you can't build. All right, so that's one thing. The second thing is recalculating the developable land by taking out any wetlands and buffer area. That's not just a change to Chapter 50, that's a change to the zoning ordinance also. At least the definitions, probably even more than that. And number 3, the prohibition of construction within the floodplains and the wetlands and their respective buffers is the same as a no build and do not disturb 100-foot buffer that's talked about in number 1. But my real question is, does this take into account homeowners in Salem? The floodplains are all over the city. They are not only along the coastline, they are the area between Canal Street and Jefferson Avenue. All those homeowners in there would be impacted by what's written on this paper as it's written, and as we are to ensure that any future ordinance change would include these things. So that means that any homeowner in floodplains would not be able to add a new deck on their home, would not be able to put in a shed on their land. That means that down in the Willows, the section between Collins Cove that runs straight through, bisecting the Willows land over to Memorial Drive and the shoreline, those homeowners would be able to make no changes in their property, none. If I go back over the Conservation Commission for the past couple of months, a homeowner off of Marlborough Road would not be able to make changes in their backyard to make their backyard safer for their child. Okay, a homeowner on Winter Island Road would not be able to build an attached garage to their home because of where their home is located. A homeowner on Charles Street would not be able to remove a diseased tree because that is in a no-touch area. I can go on. Our own parkland, we wouldn't be able to build a pool at Forest River Park. We wouldn't be able to make changes to Palmer Cove Park. We wouldn't be able to make upgrades to the Willows. This is a far-reaching ordinance amendment that is written. If it was as easy as 3 things written on a piece of paper to update our ordinance and our regulations, it would have been done by now. I really want to make this clear. This is a big job, and it involves a lot of study. It involves a lot of understanding what neighboring communities are doing, like Ipswich, Beverly, Peabody, Boston, who just passed a multi-page regulation and wetlands ordinance related to climate change. So I just want to close out by saying that no one on this council is more frustrated than I am by the pace of government. You only need to look at Route 107 and how long it's taking to get that road re-engineered. You can check with Mayor Driscoll, with Representative Tucker, with Senator Lovely. They will tell you how frustrated I am at the pace of improvements on that road. But I have to say that writing meaningful and effective legislation that doesn't lead us directly to court from day one takes time. And that's what's happening right now. This can go to committee and we can talk about wetlands and talk about improvements, but the work is happening. I want to make that clear. The work is happening with our experts from the Conservation Commission, from the Planning Board, and from the Planning Department. And we are soon going to be adding members of local groups, local environmental groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Dominguez, this is your second and final time speaking on the question.
Thank you, Madam President. Now, I want to be clear and I want to be brief. I really respect the good Councilor Ward 3, Sheila, but she's entitled for her disappointment. According to the communication that I have, it's been way too long. This group is waiting for a response. Even the planning department and all of the conservation committee are waiting for something to happen. The fact that we see what's going on in Texas, they approach me, and if you read the first line on the request or the order, we say that we wanted to bring it to committee to revise and to listen and to be able to make some change. I started my comments by saying I'm not an expert. I just only one concerning resident who live nearby the water, who want to see some action to be taken. The fact that I am alert, I think that I am entitled to be able to listen to my constituents when they approach me. And the only thing that I have done right now is to bring to the attention to the whole body these ordinances that need to be addressed as SAP. I'm not saying that we have the right writing, the right wording. What we're saying is that we just bring it to the attention, and I think that needs to be taken care. If by any chance you get offended by that or anyone get offended, I don't think that anybody is an expert. I mean, I always keep my line very clear. You right is my right. You have the right to bring any order. I have the right to bring any order. I know the communication aspect needs to be taken place, but I think in this time, according to what I have, my information, it's been almost 5 months that this been bring it to your attention and nothing's been happening. When they brought it to me, I say, fine. I have no problem bringing it in because I think this need to be addressed. And the only thing that we're asking is to have the discussion to move forward. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Oh, Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd have to agree with the Ward 3 counselor in her comments. All of her comments are a great reason why the matter should go to committee and have a better discussion about the whole thing. And I wasn't aware that the good Ward 3 council was working on this matter. I applaud her efforts. You all know that decades ago I used to work in the planning department. One of my multiple hats was I was conservation administrator for 7 or 8 years or so. I forget how many years, but a long time. And I can attest that our existing wetlands ordinance here in Salem is extremely poor, and it has no teeth, and it's almost useless. I mean, it should be totally rewritten. I'd like to see the ordinance rewritten and our floodplain, both ordinances rewritten so that we have better protections here in Salem. But I think some of the wording in here, and it's just wording, it could hurt a lot of Salem people as well. So we need to, as the Ward 3 counselor said, we need to walk slowly, make sure what we're doing is legally, and to do it right. I'd like to propose a friendly amendment to the good, and I'd like to thank Councilor Dominguez for bringing this forward as well. It's much needed. So I'd like to propose a friendly amendment that as we heard from Jeff Cohen tonight, that CERC committee was not invited to participate, which they should be. So my friendly amendment would be that the Conservation Commission, the Planning Department, the City Solicitor, and the CERC committee be invited to attend.
Conservation Commission, CERC.
Conservation Commission, Planning Department, City Solicitor, and CERC.
Department and Solicitor.
And CERC.
Councilor Dibble moves to amend the order to invite the Conservation Commission, the CERC Committee, the Planning Department, and the City Solicitor. Seconded by Councilor Dominguez. All those in favor on the amendment or for discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor on the amendment? I see 11 hands raised. All is posting none, the amendment carries. Any?
Madam President, if I could?
Yes, Councilor.
Sorry, I had my hand up prior to you taking a hand vote on that. You just the language with inviting all those people. You have to amend the language to invite a representative from each. Obviously, you can't invite the entirety of every board to a meeting because then you would violate quorum rules all over the place. So it's a representative from each. It's not the entire planning department. It's not the entire planning board. It's not the entire conservation commission. Usually they send the chair or a representative. You can't invite all of them because you'd violate quorum rules all over the place. So just be careful on how you word the invitees to that.
Councilor McCarthy, would you like to make another motion to amend that? We can't hear you, Councilor.
I'm sorry, I muted myself. I mean, obviously you can bring whoever you want to a committee. I think that having, Jeff Cohen or someone from CERC there, that's a viable discussion. But I just want to go on record as saying that Councilor Masillo and I have had multiple conversations about this the wetlands ordinance. She was dealing with this firsthand with the developments that were going on specifically to wetlands with those projects up off of Highland Avenue on the Ward 3 side. So she's has intimate knowledge about what was going on and what was happening up there. And she hasn't been working in the vacuum. Anyone who wanted to know what was going on with that, all they had to do was reach out and have a conversation, and which I did a couple times. And I wasn't walking around up on Highland Avenue trying to figure out what was going on up there. That was just it was in her ward. It was what was going on up there, and she was dealing with it. But at the same time, she also realized that there was a bigger picture, and she's been very steadfast behind the scenes doing the work on this. And I'd have to agree that, this isn't something that can be done haphazardly and it has to be done thoughtfully, because I can think of examples over the last year that projects single-family home projects or additions or whatever have been able to go through with support of people who are actually in favor of amending the ordinance. People actually supported some of these projects, but they supported projects that were close to these buffer zones and in these areas, and now want to right now jump on making it stronger, harder, better, whatever you want to. And I agree, it needs to be worked on, but you have to be careful in what you do, because Councilor Masillo brings up a lot of good points, because she's been right at the forefront of this. So bring everybody in, have a conversation, but make sure you know, it's one of these things, you got to make sure you do it right. So, but with regards to who you want to invite, when you invite them, just make sure you invite the representative, not the whole board, because then you have a problem.
I welcome that.
Madam City Clerk, would you advise that we take another vote on that, or you?
Invite the chair or a rep. So
Okay.
I'll word it correctly. I'll word it appropriately, as always.
Any further discussion on the order? Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank Councilor Dominguez for bringing this in, and truly understand Councilor Masillo's comments, because it's important to keep an eye on people who've already built and see that they're grandfathered if they do want to do something like put a deck on. And we're not sure what all the wetlands are in this city. I mean, as she refers to along Canal Street, those are floodplains from the old South River, which has been covered, and Canal Street's now Canal Street because the river was filled into the point where it was a canal, and then the canal was covered. So people don't even realize that some of those side streets are considered in floodplains of the old South River. So I appreciate all comments on that, and it does make sense to put everything in committee and have it talked over and get those issues hashed out. But I mean, we had three main rivers in our city: the North River, South River, and the Forest River. And we've done a lot of damage to the North and South River. I mean, the pond used to be where South Salem State College Sports Center is for the South River. That would allow a lot of the flooding to take place and allow it to go out, and now that's a soccer field. Stop and Shop on Howley Street used to be where all the North River and would flood there and then make its way out to the ocean, and now that's all filled in and it floods Peabody Square. So on the Forest River, we have Dead Man's Curve Marsh as a floodplain, and that's what we used to have on the North and South Rivers. So it's important that we learn from past mistakes and move forward with a better idea. So I'm glad to see this go to committee. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Dominguez, you've already spoken twice on the question. Any further discussion? Councilor Masillo, this is your second and final time speaking on the question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm wondering if, because I am really hung up on the wording of this particular order, I'm wondering if we can amend it to remove the three amendments as written and just stop it at to review both ordinances language and construction permitting requirements. It does what we want to do. We're going to be discussing wetlands, we're going to be discussing regulations, but it's not tying us to 3 items that I think are going to be more harmful than good.
Councilor Masillo, are you proposing to put a period after requirements in the first paragraph and remove the 3 items and with the amendment with the invitations?
Yes.
Councilor Masillo moves to amend like I've described. Is there a second?
No. Under discussion.
I see no second.
No, I'll second it, but if I could just add, Madam President, that we can put it into committee with any language we want, and what language comes out of committee is at the discretion of the committee and the chairperson.
Okay.
Okay, I withdraw my request then.
Councilor Marcelo withdraws the amendment.
Thank
On the order, any further discussions? Seeing none, on adoption of the order as amended, all those in favor? You see 11 hands raised. None opposed, mayor carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
Waive the reading.
Yeah, move to waive the reading.
Councilor
Second.
McCarthy, are you
You
ready?
sure you don't want me to read it?
No, we're good.
Okay. Then I have to go to page 18. Hold on.
You don't have it printed out? Like me?
No, I've gone new wave. I've got both screens and I've got my agenda down on my lower one. I'm getting right to it. Hold on. There it is, page 18. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that this matter be referred to the planning board to hold a joint public hearing and be hold joint hearing by roll call vote.
Councilor McCarthy moves to refer the matter to the planning board to hold a joint public hearing by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Briefly, I got a few phone calls relative to why accessory dwellings weren't included in it. And I understand the pros and the cons, but also with talking to the city solicitor, as you can see, just by simply adding that to this, originally we started with a 10-page document. Just to add that, it's like 8 pages. If someone wanted to make that motion during the process of the public hearing, it would have been very complicated because it would have been added in so many different sections. I'm not speaking in favor or against this. It was brought to my attention. I asked how it could be added, and by talking to the city solicitor, this was the easiest way to do it, is to bring it in now. It's going to get referred to the same joint public hearing as with the first order that was brought in. That way it'll be advertised jointly, and that way it crosses all the T's, dots all the I's, and then we can have the discussion. If I'm not sure where the will is either way, but it is this way we cover ourselves if it were to come up during discussion. So that was the only reason I brought it in at this time, because the joint public hearing hadn't been advertised yet, so it made sense to bring it in now.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor DeVoe.
Thank you, Madam President. I was confused on why this came in when we just received a very similar document. Then we referred that to the planning board for the ADUs. And when you really look at this, this one will allow for a second building to be built on the same property. Let's take a single family house lot with a single family home on it. It looks like this will allow a second home to be built on the property, not attached, not within the house, but having 2 houses on the same property. So that concerns me. And I look forward to having this discussion in committee when we get to that point.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Toriel,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Councilor Marcello,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Papworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor. Madam City Clerk, who are you on?
Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the matter of referring the zoning ordinance amendment to the planning board to hold a joint public hearing, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, 9 negative, the matter carries. Committee reports. Councilor Turiel.
Councilor Madore, I think there might have been a
Oh,
late file.
I apologize. Further orders, motions, and resolutions. Do you have any late files? Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. In City Council, March 21st, 5th, 2021, ordered that the Committee on Public Health, Safety, and Environment co-post it with the Committee of Whole, meet and invite Salem Sound Coast Watch to make a presentation to introduce Salem's Greenway Gateway City program.
Thank you, Counselor. Did you mean to say February 25th? Today's date?
Yes, February. That's why I looked at my calendar. I thought that was wrong. Yes, today's date's February 25th, 2021. Sorry.
This is the late file. We
have to vote to.
Move to receive the late file.
We have to vote to send it to committee.
Move to, yeah, receive and file and send to committee.
Move to receive and file first?
Nope.
Oh, Mr. Committee. On referring the matter to the Committee on Public Health, Safety, and Environment, all those in favor? I see 11 hands raised. All opposed, seeing none, the matter carries. Any additional orders, motions, and resolutions? Seeing none. Committee reports. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, February 25th, 2021. The Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of $200,000 appropriation for Essex Street improvements, has considered said matter and would recommend adoption by roll call vote.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? I see 11 hands raised. All those opposed, seeing none. On adoption of recommendation, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. So we met on Tuesday evening to discuss this. We discussed the extent of the plan that's been in place, the difficulty we've had in finding a contractor to do this project, and the cost increases that we've had on it. We discussed the timetable of this. They anticipate this project starting this spring and continuing into construction season through next spring. They've made some arrangements around Halloween season that'll depend on what the pandemic situation is like and what we have for tourist traffic. Essentially, what it boils down to is that this has been a long time coming, and Essex Street in the middle of downtown, basically between utilities and voids and vaults that intrude, is pretty much a mess. So it's a much more complex project than your typical roadway repaving and sidewalk jobs. So it's gone fairly big, but it's something that we need to do. So with that, I would move for adoption.
Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be very brief on this because I've spoken on this several times in the past. In my opinion, this project is inflated significantly in the cost to make these repairs. And now we're adding another $200,000 on top of that when we're already, in my opinion, way over it. So I cannot be supporting this one here tonight.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation to approve, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Florio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Prasnewski,
Yes.
Councilor Lucillo,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble next.
what?
No.
I can't hear Councilor Dominguez. That's where I get stuck.
Do you call my name? I don't hear your name.
Yes.
I mean, I don't hear you call me. Yes.
Okay. Councilor Dibble,
No.
Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the matter of, wrong thing. On the matter of the $200,000 appropriation for Essex Street, adoption of the recommendation to approve the appropriation, we have 11 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, and matter carries. Further committee reports, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. Let me just open up the other one. City of Salem, City Council, February 25th, 2021. The Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter for $890,000 to fund improvement project for a water main on Highland Avenue, has considered said matter and would recommend approval by a roll call vote.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? I see 10 hands.
Now there's 11.
Now there's 11, not opposed. On the matter carries. Adoption of the recommendation under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be brief on this because it's really engineering nitty-gritty details. Their plan is to put a liner in a significant, roughly 1,800 foot segment of pipe, water main on Highland Avenue. They're going to be putting a liner in it that will withstand high pressures and allow faster, less turbulent water flow, so less risk of further damage. This will enable us to get some more water through there. This was originally going to be in our CIP for fiscal year 2022, but it was moved up because the state is going to do repaving in the summer of that, or possibly even late spring, of that segment of Highland Avenue. So it was in our best interest to get this going earlier so that we wouldn't have to dig up what the state just put down. So we're moving up the schedule on doing this water main work. This will also save us repair costs down the road. And then the state will be able to come in and repave.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. This is something I'm going to support tonight. And I want to thank the good Ward 5 Councilor for holding a good committee meeting on this with our city engineer and others. And he's right, the nitty-gritty details on this. The project had, it's a big ticket item, $890,000, but we received 6 or 7, I forget what, I think it was 6 bidders on this, and this is the lowest qualified bidder to do the work. The work is needed for that whole Highland Avenue corridor, and the timing of it makes a lot of sense, whereas the state's going to come in and do work to the roadway after this pipe is repaired and replaced, rather, with an insert. So again, I just want to point out and thank the Ward 5 Councilor for holding a very good meeting on this, and I will be voting in support of this.
Any further discussion? Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. This project can't happen fast enough for the residents that live up on that section of Highland Avenue all the way to the Lynn line. When there's a water main break up there, which has happened several times in the past couple of years, the water is shut off from around Salem High School all the way to the Lynn line, and it's out for hours. And then on top of that, the people that live in the big buildings at Pequot Highlands, it takes them even longer to get their water back on because of the process that the buildings have to go through. So this is really a needed project to restore a pipe that is in really bad shape.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi?
Yes.
Councilor Krasnowski?
Yes.
Councilor Morcillo?
Yes.
Councilor Hathi?
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
I'm sorry, if you called my name, it's a yes. I couldn't hear you at all.
Councilor Madore?
Yes. On the matter of appropriation of $890,000 for the water main on Highland Ave, we have to approve the appropriation. We have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative and negative. The matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, February 25th, 2021. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of amending an ordinance relative to public guides amplification, has considered said matter and would recommend that the attached ordinance with amendments be adopted for first passage. City of Salem, in the year 2021, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to public guides, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 40, Section 40-30, prohibitions is hereby amended by deleting subparagraph 8 in its entirety and replacing it with the following. Number 8, utilize a voice amplification device on Brown Street, Howard Street, Brown Street Court, Kimball Court, Higginson Square, or in the alley between 93 and 99 Washington Street. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? I see 11 hands. Councilor McCarthy, are you frozen? I see 11 hands. All those opposed, seeing none. Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a request brought from a resident that lives at 99 Washington Street. And what's happening is the tour groups are coming into that alleyway between City Hall and the Honeydew Donuts building in order to get off of the sidewalk. So that pedestrians don't have to go into the street to get around the tour groups. But when they go in there and they use the amplification, the sound bounces around and really does cause a disturbance for the residents in that building. They're not requesting that the tours not use the alley. They just want to ban the amplification. So that's what this does. It just adds the driveway between 93 and 99 Washington Street.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. On adoption of the recommendation, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Krasnowski,
Yes.
Hello,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Yes, I don't hear you when you call my name, but I say yes. Why not?
Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the matter of the ordinance amendment relative to public guides, amplification, I have 11 councilors voting, available affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. Further committee reports, Councilor Marcelo.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, February 25th, 2021. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of waiving public guide fees for 2021, has considered said matter and would recommend waiving the 2021 tour guide renewal fees of $10 or $20. And if the tour guide has already paid the fee, it will be used for the tour guide's 2022 tour guide renewal fee only.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? I see 10 hands raised. All those opposed, seeing none. The report is accepted. Adoption of the recommendation under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. We had a really good conversation about the fees due by tour guides, their renewal fees. And it was brought by a member of the tour guide community when they saw that the liquor licenses had been waived for the year in order to help the businesses. And so they put in the same request that it would help the local tour guides. We had a discussion about year-round businesses as opposed to seasonal businesses that pop up in the summer and especially in October, and that supporting the year-round businesses like the tour guides is something that would be a nice gesture during this period of time.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Torrio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Krasnowski,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the matter of waiving the 2021 tour guide renewal fee, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none to negative, the matter carries. Communications from city officials. Councilor Sargent.
You have a communication from the city clerk submitting the election calendar for the municipal election year of 2021.
I move that we waive the reading. And then I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Councilor Sargent moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Just the city calendar election year, as far as all the different dates for filing and for voting. And it's pretty routine. So again, I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Prasnewski,
Yes.
hello,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the matter of the election calendar for municipal election year of 2021, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, 9 negative. The matter carries. Petitions. Petitions.
Following license applications, we have public guides and a taxi cab requesting for 4 taxi cabs.
Councilor Marcelo.
Thank you, Madam President. I move these be granted.
Councilor Marcelo moves for these to be granted. All those in favor? I see 11 hands raised. All those opposed? Being none, matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 3 drain layer contract license applications.
Councilor Marcelo.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these be granted.
Councilor Marcelo moves for granted. All those in favor? See those hands. I see 11 hands. All those opposed, seeing none, the matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 3 claims.
Councilor Marcelo.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Councilor Marcelo moves for these to be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. All those in favor? Oh, any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor? I see 11 hands. All those opposed, seeing none, matter carries. Unfinished business.
We have the second passage of the following, 2 ordinances amending traffic.
Councilor Marcelo.
Thank you, Madam President. In the year 2021, an ordinance to amend ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by, is this the second passage?
Yes.
Oh, forget all that. I move for adoption for second passage by roll call vote.
Councilor Marcelo moves for adoption for second passage by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Discussion.
No discussion. Any further discussion? Being none, on the adoption of the second passage of the 2 traffic ordinances, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Torrio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Prasnewski,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the adoption for second and final passage of the 2 traffic ordinances, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The matter carries. Anything else? Going once, going twice. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, everybody. Just a quick note. It's a good night. We got our business done, but it was good to hear a little virtual laughter in the council chambers also. So thank you very much, everybody, and I move for adjournment.
Councilor Sargent moves for adjournment. All those in favor? See 11 hands. All those opposed? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you. Good night, all.